So when you're starting out in filmmaking, there's always going to be certain things that you just don't know to do. When I started, there was a lot that I just didn't know. And that's okay because you learn throughout the journey. But right now, I'm going to give you three of the biggest mistakes that beginner filmmakers make and then how to fix it. So the first mistake that many beginners make is not paying enough attention to sound. Sound is going to be very important when it comes to your videos. Now, I'm not just talking about getting good dialogue and making sure people can be heard and those types of things, but what I am talking about is just 100% pure sound design. So, what does that mean? So, in addition to making sure that the audio for the dialect is clear, you also want to make sure that it makes sense. So, for instance, let's say you're shooting outside, and we all know shooting outside, there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of background stuff. So, we tend to turn on some noise reduction so you can hear the people that are talking a lot more clear, which is okay. That's something that you should do. But what you should also do is add in those ambient sounds in post. I mean, think about it. You're shooting outside. There should be some birds chirping, maybe still even a little wind, some crickets or something. And if you cut all that out and you got two people standing outside talking, then the scene just falls flat. So, one way to do this is make everybody be quiet, record the ambient sound of wherever you're at. Then you can take that file and add it later in post, and that way you can control the depth of it and how loud it is. So an outside scene now sounds like you're outside. So think about that. That's something that a lot of beginners, I know with me, something that we just neglect. So sound quality, sound design is going to be very important. So the second thing that a lot of beginners tend to forget is lighting and exposure. Now, this one can be a little tricky because the two go hand in hand, but there's some things you need to do to really try to get them to work together. So for instance, of course you want to make sure that you're exposing your image correctly. This is going to vary from scene to scene, whether you're shooting in log or a natural picture profile. So there's a lot of different things that go into getting the right exposure. But there are tools like a histogram and waveforms that can help you achieve this. Now, when it comes to lighting, lighting can be simple or it can be difficult depending on what you're trying to do. I've made several videos using one light, two lights, cheap lights, more expensive lights, whatever. But lighting is going to be very important in order for you to get proper exposure in indoor type settings or even outdoors sometimes, and make sure that the image is going to look as good as it possibly can. So for lighting, it all depends on how you want to do it. So you can do things to where you have a light sitting off to one side and then the camera's kind of on the opposite side to kind of shoot toward the shadow. I'm sort of kind of doing that right now, but I'll try to put up something on the screen to really give a demonstration of this. But um or you can just do some simple lighting to where the light is just kind of up above you at an angle a little bit to really just highlight your face, provide a little shadow on one side or whatever. But it's really going to be specific to the type of scene that you're shooting and how you want it to look. So practice basic lighting setups. Don't try to get too in depth with it. Just get it to where it looks good to you and the shot is properly exposed, and you'll notice a big difference in your videos. And the third thing, and one that I think is probably the most important one on this list, and that is storytelling. And I know, I get it. You've heard that a million times. I've said it. A billion other creators have said it. But story is important. You can get away with maybe sound quality that isn't that great. You can get away if the video doesn't look as perfect as it should with your exposure and lighting. But if you're telling a good story, people will watch. How many movies have you watched on some of these sites like Tubi that doesn't look all that great, the audio was a little shaky, but it's actually a good story, so you watch it. Storytelling is gonna be, man, that's gonna be your Thor's hammer. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be something that's going to make people watch your films. Learn how to tell a good story. Let me give you a tip. Don't start off telling stories about your life. Nobody cares. And what do I mean by that? Vlogging is something that a lot of times when we get started, we figure we can talk about our day and talk about the things that people don't know you, they don't care. Okay? That's something you can do along, later on down the line when you've got more followers or subscribers or whatever, and people begin to know what it is you can do. Then you can start talking about, your life and all that type of stuff. Other than that, use your imagination, get creative, and come up with good stories that people can relate to, that either teach them something or are entertaining. If you do one of those, people will watch. Don't fall off, keep doing it. It might not jump off, in the first year that you start doing it, but at some point, people will pay attention and the algorithms will start to push your stuff out. Storytelling is something that a lot of people neglect. They have good looking videos, they sound good, they got a lot of flashy effects, or they look real cinematic, but the story just quite frankly sucks. And nobody's gonna watch it if the story just isn't good. So remember that, storytelling. So there you have it. 3 of the biggest mistakes that I think beginners make. Now, these are some of the mistakes that I made, and that's how I made this little list. You might not be making these same mistakes, so more props to you. But I know a lot of people tend to neglect the story, they neglect their lighting and exposure, and they neglect the audio. So I think these 3 things are probably the most important. There are a lot of other things that we make mistakes doing, but I think these 3 are the tops. So look, I appreciate you guys watching, man. Do me a favor, go down and leave a comment and let me know some mistakes that you made when you first started. Hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel if you like it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.